Right, so as we start the color process on the self-portrait, you want to take a piece of the scrap black paper and look at your reference and see how the color, whether it's the black and white colored pencil with your colored pencil or the black and white art stick with the same color that you're using, will work as far as trying to match values in here. Obviously, I have areas of pure white that I'm going to be using, the white colored pencil, the white art stick. I've got transition from white into my color here, but there's white underneath. For example, in here, this area, if I just put this tone down on the black paper, you'll see that the black of the paper creates a shaded version of that color. So in areas like this that I've got just the black of the shaded area of that color, I'm just going to be able to figure on using just the colored pencil to shade that particular area. But areas where I have lightness over the whole face, I'm going to need to try to do some layering. So when I go to try to figure out how to create this value right here, I'm going to try doing some color mixing. So if I put white down lightly to medium pressure first, and then put my color over top with the art stick, still a little bit of the black paper shows through, but I can see that I'm getting a little bit of a closer match to this than if I just put the color over top of the black paper. So I may even try to figure out other areas, other ways that I can match certain values. In here I've got white, then I've got the color. Maybe I need to put white down again with a little bit of burnishing technique to see how I could match lighter areas of that part. Maybe even see what happens if I do the white, then the color, then white, and then the color again to create areas of matching tone. All right, so use the scrap paper to figure out the best possible way to develop areas of value. Obviously, pure areas of white up against edges like this. If I have that mixture in there, and then I come in with pure white up against it, with a little bit of burnishing pressure and kind of blending into this area, I can create the transition on this side of the face where it would end up being pure white. Areas where I have that same tone, I have the white up against it, and then it transitions into that medium value with the black of the paper creating the shaded version of the color. That could be the best possible way to create some of that transition in certain areas of the face. So use the scrap paper to figure out the best possible way. So on this whole face, when I go to put that information in, I'm going to be using all of the colors with white underneath, except in areas here, 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 and here where I have some of the shaded area. So when you actually start on the face, I'm going to recommend starting on the eyes and then working my way out. I also need to remember that the contours of the face, to give this object or to give my subject depth and dimension, I can't shade one directional. I need to follow the contours of the face, all right, as I'm putting the blending in. So I'm going to start in the eyes, and I'm going to suggest starting with any light highlights. Now I can see right here in my eye that I've got this really bright white highlight coming down, kind of comes across as a reflection in my eye, and then there's a little bit of white in here for the white of my eye, and out here I can see that there's a little bit of white, but there's also a little bit of color. So I'm going to put the white down first and then bring the color into it. I also see that the bottom eyelid has that color. The area of white in my eye right there is pretty shaded, so I'm just going to let the black of the paper show through there. Now I'm going to come in with my black colored pencil, and I'm going to look at the black areas of my eye. In this case, it's my upper eyelid crease that comes down here, and it creates that dark shape. I can see the major eyelid crease right here, so I'm putting the black in first, right on those lines that I drew. I can see the area around my iris has a nice strong dark tone, and if I look closely in there around that white highlight that I put in, I can see that I've got my pupil, the roundness of my pupil. Now if I look closely in here, I can see there's a little bit of color. So if I'm going to put that little bit of color on the color part of my eye, I'm just putting that in now right over top. You can see a little bit of lightness around the eye over here. So I'm going to use the white. I can see my upper eyelid, or I'm sorry, the bottom eyelid here has some lightness. Right here there's a really strong highlight on the bottom eyelid. There's a little bit of lightness that comes up through here, and you see the direction that the pencil's going. It's following the contour of the eye socket. I'm only transitioning it in a little bit because the lightness only comes to here and to here. So I'm transitioning that in a little bit. I'm just going to put a little bit of light over the eye because I said the color itself around this eye is what's going to make the shaded version of that. So I'm going to continue just building these light areas first with a little bit of pressure, and it comes out here to the edge of this shape. Up through here, the edge of this, there's some lightness. I can see that there's some lightness all through here, and I have these creases in here. So this comes out a little bit. A little bit brighter right there. A little bit of brightness in there. And then through here, where's that highlight right in there? I'm just going to reference that a little bit right now. As I put in the color over top here, okay, I'm looking at this area right here, how that transitions out. I'm going to stop at that line because out here it's going to be pure white. So right over top of this, on that eye socket, you can see I got a little bit in there underneath the black. Got a little bit of this color through there in the upper eyelid. The eyelashes, coming back with the black, kind of putting those in, give a little bit of life there. And now over here where I have that shaded area of the eye underneath the eyebrow, I'm just going to use light pressure and create that shaded version of that part of the eye socket just by using the colored pencil on top of the black and letting the black of the paper create the shade. Same thing in here where I've got this darker shadow or this medium value right here. I'm just letting the colored pencil on top of the black paper create that shaded area, following the contours of the form. Now, as I said, all of this has lightness, and I need to follow the contours of the face. So when I look at the contours of the face this way, I can see the movement of the face here, here. This is where you're going to start to create some of that interesting movement with just the art sticks. So it's more like a brush stroke, and I'm putting that light in. Up here it's a little bit brighter, so I'll put some of that in. And then up here, as I transition out underneath the eye socket, I can also see that the eyebrow has some darkness in here, so I can use my black colored pencil to put the eyebrow in. First, put the eyebrow in so that I have that texture, and then when I go over it with my colored pencil, I'll create that colored area inside. I can see the eyebrow comes to there. Alright, I'm not filling the eyebrow in as a solid shape. Alright, now I have that color inside the eyebrow, and you can see where I have the black. It's not making the color, it's just giving me a nice accurate tone. So the eyebrow remains dark. Now I want to pull in some art stick, some of the white art stick, and I want to start developing lightly up to the hairline, and maybe even into the hairline a little bit, because I can see into the hairline a little bit I have lightness as well. It's dark up here, it's dark up here. So I'm going to pull a little bit of the white into the hairline this way, okay, where that hairline comes in. Now I'm not going to make this pure white just yet. I'm just going to build that slowly. So the whole area of my face now, coming across the forehead, you see the direction that the art stick is moving. Okay, I'm following the contours of the face. Here it's coming down into the hairline a little bit, into the beard. And then as I work my way across into the cheek, following the contour of the face there. A little bit brighter right here, and then it gets really bright out here. So before I get too bright, now I'm going to use the art stick, kind of come up against that edge and soften it as it transitions out. I've got more of the color in here, following the contour in the eye. I've got some of the color right there. Now I can go back and intensify the brightness of the white, again, following the contour of the face and blending right up against that tone right there to create that highlight. Changing the direction of the art stick, making sure that the brightness is accurate based on the photo, and I'll continue that process. So my whole face, my entire face, is going to have lightness. But I want to use the black to define the darks before I go around them with the lights. And that's the best procedure to start the values. In here I got a little bit of a black. It creates the dark crease around the edge of the nose. I've got the shadow right here that I can put in first with the black of the paper, and then just using the colored pencil as it transitions up to the edge of the nostril. Now I can see that black pencil line that I made right there that defines the edge of the nose. There's a little bit of a darker crease up against this, so I can just use the black colored pencil to create that darker crease. And in here I'm going to use the side of the white colored pencil up against that. Intense white right there, transitions out and down because this part of the face curves this way. And then I can use the color off of that and create that lighter tone that comes up and meets right in here. So I'm using some of the black of the paper. I'm using the overlapping technique to create the match for the colors that I have in the photo. And areas where I need a little bit more control, I can use the colored pencil with the white and transition it into the valued areas of my face.
When starting with the hair, I got to look for, again, I got to work light to dark. So I'm looking at the lightness on each area of my hair, putting in a little bit of the lightness with the art stick, following the contour, the direction of the hair, using the colored pencils to pick up those strong highlights, and a little bit more fine work, light medium highlights. There's some whites around the outer edge. Now I'm using the art stick just to get some of the lightness in there. Now I'm going to go in with the color and the colored art stick and really try to recreate some of the highlights with the colors in that part of the hair. Now I'm going to fine detail some of those hair textures with the black colored pencil. Now you can see how that's really creating a nice texture in the hair and really giving me enough where it appears that the hair is growing out of the head. On the shirt, I'm focusing on the highlight areas. So if you look at the photo below, you can see where the brightest brights are. Most of the shirt is light, so I'm going to have white over most areas of the shirt. I'm really using the pencil to control the highlighted areas of contour from the folds and creases. All right, a little bit of black to help define the edge of the neck where the shirt and some of the shadows from the shirt come down. And as I put in these highlights with the colored pencil, I'm just, again, doing it so that I can control it that much more. And now I can use the art stick, obviously, to fill in larger areas. When I get to the medium tones with the color, with the goldenrod color, I'm going to put the white, again, same thing I did before. I'm going to put white over every area. Brightest brights are doing, I'm doing those first. Now I'm coming back and putting in the light white so that when I go over it with the goldenrod color, you're going to see similarities to the shaded version of the goldenrod, similar to what I did in the shaded areas of the face. You can use the colored pencil to get fine detail area in. And I'm even going to go back in with a black colored pencil in some areas and create some shaded versions right around there where I'm looking at the shirt where there's a little bit more detail. So I'm using the black colored pencil to do that. Now when you start the background, carefully go around the circle. Try to stay at the edge of the circle with the art stick. Most of the background is light. So I'm going to put white down over the entire background, staying within that line that I created around the outer edge. I can see this area of the background's lighter. I'm using my pencil to go around the hair so I can get more control and maintain the shape around the hair and the ear and the back edge of the shoulder there. Now I can just go back with the art stick and put the lightness. That side's a little bit brighter as well. And just put the white in underneath. And then I'm going to go back in with the color so that I'm matching the amount of value all the way around. And I'll probably go back over with the white in some areas so that I can see the highlight coming off of the one side of my face. To finish the background, I got a nice clean overall look to my piece.